She lost herself trying to save a man who never wanted to change. Everyone thought she had found true love. They admired the pictures, the smiles, and the promises. They believed she had met a man worth sacrificing everything for. What nobody saw was the quiet war she was fighting every single day. At first, the changes were small. He did not like the way she dressed, so she changed her wardrobe. He said her friends were a bad influence, so she stopped answering their call. He complained that she spent too much time with her family, so she slowly disappeared from the family gathering. Every sacrifice felt temporary. He always promised once things get better, everything will be different, everything will come back to normal. She believed him. The woman who once laughed loudly became silent. The woman who loved reading books stopped reading her books. She gave up the small business she has worked so hard to build because he said it took too much of her attention, too much of time. Whenever someone asked if she was happy, she smiled. It was easier than explaining the truth. One evening, she overheard him talking to a friend. I don't know why she keeps changing herself. He laughed. I never asked her to become perfect. Her heart froze. Those words echoed in her mind all night. How could he say that after every sacrifice she had made? The next morning, she looked around her apartment and realized something frightening. Nothing around her reflected who she used to be. Her dreams were gone, her confidence was gone, even the way she spoke had changed. She she has spent so much time trying to become the woman he wanted that she no longer recognized the woman she once was. Still, she stayed, since she convinced herself that love required patience, but his behavior never changed. He still came home late without explanation. He still ignored her feelings. He still made promises he never intended to keep. Every apology sounded exactly like the last one. Then came the moment she never expected. She accidentally found messages on his phone. He wasn't talking to one woman, he was talking to several different women. The compliment he gave her was copied and sent to other women. The promises she believed were nothing more than repeated words. She didn't scream. She didn't throw his phone. She simply sat down and cried, not because he had betrayed her, but because she finally understood how deeply she had betrayed herself. She had abandoned the person who loved her the most, herself. When he came home that evening, he expected another argument. Instead, he found packed bags by the door. You are leaving? He asked, surprised. She looked at him calmly. No, she replied. I'm returning to the woman I left behind. For the first time, he had nothing to say. Weeks later, people noticed something different. She started smiling again. She she reopened her business. She reconnected with old friends. She visited her parents without asking anyone's permission. The woman who had once lived to please someone else was finally living for herself. Months later, he tried to come back. He said he had changed. He said he missed her, but she noticed something important. His words had changed. His habits had not. He was still making excuses, still blaming others, still expecting someone else to fix the problems he refused to face. She smiled politely and closed the door, not because she hated him, but because she had finally learned the difference between loving someone and losing yourself for them. Years later, when people asked what the biggest lesson of her life had been, her answer never changed. The greatest mistake wasn't loving the wrong person. The greatest mistake was believing I had to stop being myself to keep them. Some people will ask you to sacrifice your peace, your dreams, your confidence, and your identity while giving up nothing for themselves. Real love never demands that. The day she stopped trying to save a man who refused to change was the day she finally saved herself, and that became the beginning of the happiest chapter of her life. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If this is your first time of coming across my channel, please subscribe. Click on the notification button, like and share. Thank you.